I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Spinal Tap's tour gets worse after that. Their concerts are canceled, their manager quits, and they develop the most disconcerting habit of killing off all of their drummers. One of the amazing things about this film is how much it really does feel like a real documentary. We get the dumb questions and the funny answers, and meanwhile we can see the group disintegrating before our very eyes. And yet, it's all done subtly. They don't go for the obvious gag. There's never a moment when we feel they're going for a cheap laugh. This Is Spinal Tap feels like a documentary, it works as a great comedy, and it also succeeds in telling us the story of this very badly confused rock band.
I think it works because they have a terrific comic premise, because this film actually has something to say about the rock business, which is that there are a lot of bad bands out there, and they have some popularity. What they did, think about what they really did here. We get documentaries, when we think about it, it's worthy of a documentary, so make it about a serious, good product, and therefore you'll learn about the nature of the product by studying the serious. This film is really doing something quite special. It's saying you can learn just as much by studying something lousy. We learn just as much about the rock business, if you want to know, from this movie, with all of its funny stuff, as we do learn by studying the success of the Beatles in The Complete Beatles.
Sure, you see all about how they're going to package the album, how they advertise, how they tour, all the problems they have. And the other thing is, there's the story underneath, the story of the band and the relationships in the band that we pick up almost at the corner of the screen. One of the things I liked best about this movie was you had to be smart to watch it. You had to think a little bit in order to figure out everything that was going on. It didn't pound you over the head.
Shake hands with yourself then on that one.
Hey, I really want to congratulate myself for my intelligence, and I'm sure you feel good about yours too.
Yeah, I got it real easy. I understood everything more than you did.
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're back to another request, and this time it's from Jordon. Thank you so much for that. And if anyone wants to request any reviews, re-reviews, topics, reactions, anything of the sort, you just send the request either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. But this time it's for This Is Spinal Tap, which is a very enjoyable fate documentary on this fake rock and roll band called Spinal Tap. The film is directed by Rob Reiner. Had a big hand with the three main leads, Harry Shearer, McKean, and Christopher Guest, who helped write the film along with Rob Reiner, and they star as Spinal Tap. And from what I understand, if you talk to a lot of musicians, whether it be Jimmy Page or Ozzy Osbourne or people in Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, almost anybody in the music field, they will say that this film is not that crazy, it's not that exaggerated, and that this is one of the, even though this is a fake documentary, that apparently this is one of the best true-to-life views of rock and roll and what a tour would really be like and what would really happen. So I find that funny that a comedy that's looked at as being silly and over the top, rockers would go, no, that's the most realistic. That some musician would see and they go, this isn't a comedy, this is what really would fucking happen. Which makes it that much fucking funnier. And I mean, the story is that this filmmaker, who Rob Reiner plays, is filming this documentary of Spinal Tap's big tour in the US for the new album called Smell the Glove. And it shows the three of them on their tour and all the ups and downs, where, you know, all the people that they meet and the history of their band, and how they're not really that bad of singers. Their songs are their songs. And there's silly stuff, but sadly, if you saw enough behind the music back in the day for VH1, or you watch other actual documentaries on bands, you sadly do see that a lot of this is a lot more real than you think. And so they go on the tour, it's like, we are Spinal Tap from the UK, you must be the USA. And it shows their history where back in the 60s in black and white, they were singing songs like "Give Me Some Money." They have this thing where their drummers, in this case, they keep dying based on weird accidents, like they choked on vomit and wasn't even their own vomit, or a gardening accident, or they just get blown up. Going to parties, having to kiss up the people, which, funny enough, two of the mimes is actually Dana Carvey and Billy Crystal, you know, before they got big, before they got famous. You have a limo driver talking about Sinatra and about, well, these guys are a fad, but someone like Sinatra's forever. That's actually Bruno Kirby, who I remember was with Billy Crystal and Daniel Stern in City Slickers. May he rest in peace. He was also in Good Morning Vietnam. And just, you know, the crazy songs they've seen. But talk about bum cakes, my girl's got 'em. Big bottom, big bottom. And the three leads are sincere in their performances, and that makes it even funnier. So when they meet with Fran Drescher, and she's talking about how the company's mad at them for their album cover. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? Yeah, grease naked woman on the floors with a collar on her neck, a black glove shoved in her face, told to sniff it. And they're like, but it's a joke, man. It's just a joke. It's sexy. What's wrong? It's sexy. What's wrong with being sexy? No, not sexy. Sexist. They think it's sexist, not sexy. And just a lot of memorable moments. For example, when Christopher Guest is talking about his guitars, then his sound equipment, how it goes up to 11. If you need the extra push, you just put up to 11. And then Rob Reiner goes, well, why don't you make 10 just a bit louder? Like, forget about, just tune up 10, amp that up, and that way 10 is just a little bit louder. And Christopher Guest thinks about it for a minute. Well, but these go up to 11. Or when their places start getting canceled and their manager goes, we're canceled here. And someone goes, at the hotel? We're canceled. No, not the hotel. No, we're canceled in this town. And every time they keep going to more and more get canceled, they have an album that's just a black album. Like, what is this? And someone goes, well, I mean, maybe it'll make you think of leather. I mean, and then funny enough, later on, Metallica had a black album that was just black. And in fact, there's a fun thing on YouTube where Spinal Tap tossed Metallica, and they go, I wonder where you got that idea of a black album. That's a fun bit. Again, you can find on YouTube. And just all the stuff that happens. The Harry Shearer, they have this thing on stage where the musicians get out of these cocoons, and he gets trapped in it for the whole fucking song until at the end he finally gets out. He's ready to sing. He's like, oh shit, he's gotta get back in. He gets trapped again, and without missing beat, he's like, and I think that's what makes it funny. They're not gonna be like, oh my god, oh, this is silly, ain't it? This is whole silly. No, it's just he sincerely can't get out. Oh shit, he sincerely tries to get back in. He's trapped, and then he's just like, yeah. not wanting to let on in the crowd that things got fucked up. Or later on, they're supposed to have the Stonehenge, but they wrote 18 inches. So when the Stonehenge, it's only one, like, this fucking big. Like, literally, this big. And it's sitting there while a bunch of little people run around it. And some of the band members are just like, as this little ditty thing is lowered from the ceiling. And it shows you how musicians are full of themselves, and musicians will want weird demands. How musicians are, how out of it they can really be. The crazy venues they play at, like playing in an Air Force base. And apparently a lot of musicians, something like that really did happen to them, where they did play at Air Force bases. Or this guy, Christopher Guest here, thinks he's all that, and he has this delicate song. Oh, what's the name of that song? Well, it's called Lick My Love Pump. So, like I said, it's one of those things where when you watch the film, I remember hearing that some people, when this film came out, they did not know it was a fake documentary. They did not know it was a it was a comedy. They sincerely thought this was a fucking real film, like a real documentary, and they're like, what the fuck are these guys? These guys suck. Who are these guys? Why'd they do a documentary on them? That's how believable I guess these guys were. And they were in that bad singing state of affairs. Like, they were not horrible in singing. There's a song, despite the title, Break Like the Wind. But if you actually listen to the song, it actually has a decent beat, and the vocals are not that bad. It's just that it's Spinal Tap, and it's called Break Like the Wind. I mean, but looking up some info on this. Apparently all the dialogue is improvised. Actors were given outlines indicating where scenes would begin and end, and character information necessary to avoid contradictions, but everything else came from the actors. Usually the first take was used. Veteran documentary cameraman Peter Smokler worked as a cinematographer to keep the look of the film looking like an actual documentary, and they fit that. They definitely fit that. Inspirations were from other documentaries like Don't Look Back, which was about Bob Dylan, and The Last Waltz, which was about the band. There was a band called The Band. Critics praised the film not only for its satire of the roller coaster lifestyles of rock stars, but also for its take on the non-fiction film genre. Yeah, the film resonated with many musicians: Dee Snider, Ozzy Osbourne, Jimmy Page, Robert Plant. They too had also become lost in confusing arena backstage hallways, which does happen here. Just like, rock on, rock on. Okay, go over there, go over there. Rock on. Then they're lost again. No, go over here. Oh, rock on, rock on. Or how some of their albums didn't do well, and they were in the Fate Dot, they talk about some of the critics. Like, one of them, Spinal Tap, had an album called Shark Sandwich, and so one reviewer literally said shit sandwich. And real musicians talk about how, yeah, critics would say stuff like that about our albums too. Lars Ulrich from Metallica said that the Metallica Guns N' Roses 1992 tour seemed so Spinal Tap. Funny enough, it was in support of Metallica's own Black Album, because during that tour, Metallica's James Hetfield suffered third-degree burns on his arms after he stood too close to a pyrotechnic device. In this film, what happens? The drummer, he fucking blows up near the end of the film. And all the other stuff, like when Harry Shearer gets stuck in the cocoon and stuff like that. Both when he can't get out, and then when he gets his arm stuck up when he's trying to get back in. Kurt Cobain had said there's never really been a good documentary on rock and roll. Dave Grohl said, well, except Spinal Tap. Cobain agreed with, as well as mentioned, Don't Look Back. So even Kurt Cobain said this was good. The first time Steven Tyler saw the film, he didn't see any humor in it. And then funny enough, Aerosmith's recent album at the time, Rockin' a Hard Place, depicted Stonehenge on the cover. U2 guitarist The Edge said that when he first saw Spinal Tap, I didn't laugh, I cried, because it summed up what a brainless swamp big label rock music had become. So apparently this film hit a lot of the right chords for a lot of people in the music industry. They all felt this was fairly realistic. To me, it's just a very funny film. It's a funny movie. It goes by a good pace. It's only 82 minutes, an hour and 20 some minutes. It goes by a good pace. It's funny. It felt real. There's really nothing in it. I mean, obviously watching it, it's like, oh, well, I recognize that's Brutal Kirby. I recognize that's Billy Crystal. You know, I recognize these people, so it's not like I didn't believe, oh, I thought this was a real band. But I could see if back in 1984, if you didn't know any of these people, and a lot of these people were before they were famous, you maybe would have thought this was a real thing. And just go, how stupid these guys, how fucking dumb are these guys? They're so fucking full of themselves and full of shit. Which apparently a lot of real musicians, bands were full of shit. But yeah, this is a very funny movie. If you like comedy, if you're at all into music, if you're into documentaries, fake documentaries, mockumentaries as they call it, again, if you just want a fun time, short movie, goes by a good pace, check out This Is Spinal Tap. Definitely one of the better films, because I know some of them worked on stuff like, not all of them, but some of them were in Best in Show or A Mighty Wind. I would say out of all those, this was the best one. At least to me, it was the funniest one. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.